a politically motivated, scandalous kind of activity that's being performed by the Obama administration here.
Well, I mean, we can't just sit here and let these crooks try to persecute Ron Paul. I mean, we as citizens are allowed to form a political movement within the Republican Party to try to elect members of Congress and mayors and senators and governors that will just support the Bill of Rights and Constitution. But these revolutionary terrorists, they know we're trying to save America and trying to stop their revolution, and so they're coming for us.
Yeah, I think the thing that they're going after, and this is what I think the listeners need to understand, and what they're going after is shining the light on the voting records and the records of others, the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., and that's what Campaign for Liberty does. They're excellent about, informing the American people as to who supports what or who opposes what, whatever the case may be, keeping people informed as to what their representatives and senators are doing. And I think that's what has really energized the ire of the Obama administration. You got to remember.
Well, you're right. They have auto calls that are better than anybody's. They've got auto emails. They've got people that call you, and they're really helping defeat a lot of legislation that's anti-American and globalist. You're right. And they can also look at the graph. They just see the Patriot movement with the Ron Paul being one of the centerpieces of the jewel in the crown, energizing. They can see our growth curve, and that's what Cass Sunstein says. He says, we've got to shut the web down. We've got to shut down these conspiracy theorists, these people that don't believe in global warming, these people that believe in a new world order, these people that believe in a global government. I mean, that's in CNN today, a global government with SDRs. They can't allow us to have any speech because we've got the truth.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think, Alex, what you have said there, I think, is, exactly, the thinking that's behind it. Also, take into account the Disclose Act that just passed the House of Representatives, which unfortunately, the NRA even refused to oppose because they got an exemption. So you get an exemption if you are somebody like the NRA and a few other select particular lobbying groups, but everybody else, like GOA, which I really think is the greatest proponent for the Second Amendment today, as far as political action groups are concerned, and Larry Pratt and those guys, everyone else will be not allowed to put up the voting records and to challenge the incumbents on their records within, I think it's 120 days before an election.
Now, let's think about that. They're saying that American citizens and organizations cannot tell the public a voting record. Think of how Twilight Zone all of this is getting. I mean, they know what they're doing is unpopular and illegal and unconstitutional and treacherous and treasonous, literally, and they are... And I saw the Wall Street Journal headline, NRA sells out America, and even the Wall Street Journal admitted. I mean, this legislation is right out of Soviet Russia.
Right, and the Lord said that men love darkness rather than light when their deeds are evil. And that's what we got going on. We got a bunch of evil that's going on, and they don't want the light of day. The Internet puts the light of day on it. Talk radio puts the light of day on it. Ron Paul's Campaign for Liberty puts the light of day on it. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to cover the light so that they can continue to operate in darkness.
Do you ever scratch yourself, pinch yourself? I know I do all the time. I mean, it's one thing to intellectually years ago know that the globalists were planning this because we had their own documents. They've been public about it. But to see them actually doing it, government hijacking of health care and actually cutting the care to people, trying to launch new wars, trying to pass laws to secretly arrest citizens for no reason, openly saying they're going to take over the Internet, coming out with serious... criminal investigations of Campaign for Liberty when Campaign for Liberty is totally transparent. I mean, and now trying to block the American people from being able to know how someone voted. I mean, these guys, they really are criminals.
Well, and not only that, I think that they feel that the momentum has been in their favor over the last several years, and it has, quite frankly, and I think they're trying to seize the moment. I think they're a little nervous about the Tea Party movement. I think they're a little nervous about the state sovereignty movement that's going on around the country. They're nervous about some of these state legislators and some of these candidates that are openly promoting secession and independence for their states. I think they're nervous about Ron Paul. They're nervous about Alex Jones, Chuck Baldwin, and so forth. And so they're doing what they can do while they have the momentum to do it. And I think that's what we see going on here. And I think we're in a fight, and we just have to make up our minds that we're not going to roll over and play dead, and we're not going to let these people steal our country.
I mean, Kagan admits she's a socialist. I mean, and then Chris Matthews praises in his book and publicly Saul Alinsky and Lenin. But then if you say the government's socialist, he says you're a racist. I mean, these people know exactly what they're doing. I want to look at the audience who's watching on prisonplanet.tv and listening via AM, FM, shortwave, satellite, XM, later on YouTube, at prisonplanet.tv later. However you're watching, I want to look at you and I want to say something. They've got national TV specials coming out demonizing Chuck Baldwin, Ron Paul, myself. They've got Pentagon and other government reports, state police, federal dossiers. The Canadian police have them on us saying we're the enemy. Just little old Pastor Chuck Baldwin, little old talk show host Alex Jones, little old Dr. Ron Paul. Why are they scared? They're scared because we know who they are. We can see who they are. And they can see us exponentially reaching new people and the public waking up. And as the darkness falls, they want to confiscate our candles because our little lights are getting brighter and brighter, not because we're getting brighter, but because the darkness is falling. They want to shut the web down. They want to stop free speech. The curtain's falling now. You have got to use the internet and videos and books and materials and donate and spread the word like your life depends on it and like the country's life depends on it now. We do not have time because the information you have and that we have and all of us have together is so powerful that they, before were hubris-filled and just trying to demonize us and ignore us, now they just want to shut us off. And it's because they're hemorrhaging to death. They have gambled to go for it all, and we can grab victory, out of the jaws of defeat or victory from the jaws of defeat now. But please appreciate these shows, appreciate the websites, appreciate the info now because Chuck, can you make it any simpler than I am or boil it down?
No, I think you're doing a pretty good job, Alex. Exactly right. The American people have got to decide, what they want for their children and for their future. If they are just willing to have the shackles put around their necks and glibly go on into slavery and tyranny, let their children be raised in a tyrannical state, well, then so be it. Make your choice. But for people that love freedom and love liberty and really do want their children to grow up in a land of freedom, it's going to be up to us right now to fight for it, as you said. And I think that we've got to spend our money according to our convictions. We've got to support those individuals and those institutions that are out on the front lines. We can't do it by ourselves. None of us are able to do it by ourselves. None of us are independently wealthy. All of us are scratching for survival when it comes to paying the bills. And if people out there are going to have an impact on their country, they've got to dig down and they've got to support those institutions and those people that are on the front lines fighting for their freedom. And if we're not willing to do that, Alex, quite frankly, then it's gone. I mean, we're to the point now where this thing is getting close to the curtain coming down, and I know you know that, and I know a lot of your listeners know that, but I've just got to say that we are getting close. I mean, this thing is escalating exponentially in a way that I, quite frankly, am a little surprised at. I mean, I knew it was going to grow. I knew it was going to escalate. I had no idea it was going to be this fast. And let's face it, this is not just Barack Obama. We had the same thing going on with Bush, with the same thing going on with Clinton.
But now it's at rocket power. But I mean, now it's at I agree with you though. I'm amazed at how fast it's moving. And you've got Sarah Palin now out in Human Events targeting real Tea Party candidates. You've got targeting Ron Paul type candidates, even though she endorsed Rand. She's showing her colors there. The whole system is getting more and more desperate, but now is the time to throw it all on the line, folks. Now is the time to come to the aid of your country. America's never been perfect, but it's a Christian nation. It's been the best in the world, the wealthiest because of the blessings of liberty that God gave us because we did do the right thing. And that engine of freedom is dying, and the choice is being made now. you better be at your city council